My girlfriend told me she wanted space, but what I discovered during that time changed everything I thought I knew about our relationship. For 3 years, I thought my relationship with Lily was solid. We had been through ups and downs, just like any couple, but we always found our way back to each other. She was my best friend, my confidant, the person I could see a future with. We talked about moving in together, about traveling the world once we both had stable jobs. I thought we were on the same page. But about a month ago, something shifted. It started with small things. Lily seemed distant, distracted. She would be on her phone more than usual, and when I asked her about her day, her answers felt rehearsed, like she was just going through the motions. I chalked it up to stress from work. She had recently started a new project that demanded a lot of her time and energy, so I figured it was just that. I gave her space, thinking it would pass. Then, one evening, we were sitting on the couch watching a movie, and out of nowhere, Lily paused the screen. She turned to me, her face serious in a way that immediately set off alarm bells in my head. "I think I need some space," she said quietly. My heart sank. I had heard enough stories from friends to know that needing space was often code for something much bigger, something no one wanted to admit out loud. I tried to stay calm, even though panic was already bubbling up inside me. "What do you mean? Are you saying you want a break?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Lily sighed, running her hands through her hair. "I don't know. It's just, everything feels overwhelming right now. Work, life, us. I just need some time to figure things out." I didn't know how to respond. This wasn't the same Lily I had known for the past 3 years. The woman sitting next to me felt like a stranger. But I didn't want to push her. I told her I understood, and if she needed time, I would give it to her. Maybe a little space would be good for both of us, I thought. Maybe it would help her clear her mind, and we could come back to each other stronger than before. The next few days were torture. We texted occasionally, but it was sparse, just surface-level conversations. She wasn't as present as she used to be, and I began to wonder if the space was more than just needing time to think. A creeping sense of dread began to settle in my stomach. What if this was her way of pulling away without actually saying goodbye? I told myself not to jump to conclusions. But curiosity got the better of me, and that's when I made a decision I am not proud of. I checked her social media. Lily had always been careful about her online presence, but recently, I noticed she had been tagged in photos with a new group of people, some I didn't recognize. One person in particular stood out, a guy named Matt. He was in almost every photo she had been tagged in over the past few weeks. At first, I brushed it off. Lily had a lot of friends, and there was no reason to assume anything was going on. But then I saw it. It was a photo from just a few nights ago. A group of them had gone out to dinner, and there was Lily, sitting next to Matt, leaning into him in a way that made my stomach churn. It wasn't overly intimate, but it was enough to make me question everything. She hadn't mentioned this night out to me. In fact, she had told me she was working late that night. I felt sick. Was this the reason she needed space? Was this guy the real reason she was pulling away? The more I thought about it, the more everything started to make sense. The sudden distance, the vague excuses, the need for space. I decided to confront her, but I wanted to do it in person. Texting or calling felt too impersonal for a conversation like this. When I finally saw her again, she seemed different, more at ease, almost relieved to see me. But there was a tension in the air, like we were both avoiding the inevitable conversation. I couldn't hold it in any longer. Who us, Matt? I asked, trying to keep my voice calm but failing miserably. Her face changed instantly. Her expression went from relaxed to defensive in a heartbeat. What are you talking about? I saw the photos, I said, my voice sharper than I intended. You've been spending a lot of time with him lately, haven't you? Lily stared at me, her eyes narrowing. You went through my social media. Are you serious right now? I had to. I snapped. Because you've been avoiding me. You asked for space, and suddenly there's this guy in every picture, and I don't know what to think. She was silent for a moment, and then she sighed deeply. Matt is just a friend, she said, but her tone wasn't convincing. I told you I needed space, and that means I've been hanging out with other people. That doesn't mean anything else going on. I wanted to believe her, but something in her voice, in her body language, told me there was more to the story. You're not telling me everything, Lily. I can feel it. Just be honest with me. If there is something going on, I deserve to know. Her eyes flickered with something I hadn't seen before, guilt. And then she dropped the bomb. I didn't plan for this to happen, she started, her voice barely above a whisper. But Matt and I have been spending a lot of time together. And I don't know what it is yet, but I feel something for him. I didn't want to hurt you, which is why I asked for space. I needed time to figure out what I was feeling. It felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. My chest tightened, and for a moment, I couldn't breathe. This was worse than I had imagined. She didn't even deny it. She was falling for someone else right in front of my eyes, and I hadn't seen it coming. I stood there, staring at her, trying to make sense of everything. So, what now? I asked, my voice hollow. Do you want to be with him? Is that what this is about? Tears welled up in her eyes, but I didn't feel sorry for her. I don't know, she whispered. I didn't mean for it to happen this way. I never wanted to hurt you. But you did, I said quietly. You hurt me more than you'll ever know. There was nothing left to say after that. The woman I had loved for 3 years was standing in front of me, admitting that her feelings had shifted to someone else, and there was no fixing it. The space she needed wasn't for herself, it was for her to explore something new with another person. I walked out of her apartment that night and didn't look back. In the end, it wasn't the space that broke us. It was the lies hidden behind it, the betrayal that festered in the cracks of our relationship.